This video is about some of the technical implement details on our MC-Link MT Connect gateway. Let's take a quick overview of MC-Link standard. This is a standard established by the China Machine Tool Builder Association. It's as a communication standard between the application and the MC-Link agent and adapter. The adapter pretty much talk to the machine tools or any other machines. The agent is manage a whole bunch of adapter. Application talk to the agents to basically can get all the data from each of those machines. For any standard, just like MT Connect or OPC UA, it has two key components. One is the communication transport mechanism. The other one is the information data model. In MC-Link is using MQTT as the communication transport mechanism. In their specification, it also mentioned about HTTP RESTful API, but I haven't seen too much detail in the specifications. So in the MQTT, the way it communicates between the machine and the agent and also the application, they are separate into 8 topics. MQTT is a publish subscribe paradigms. Through the topic, you can exchange information between different entities. So these are the 8 topics, starting from registry, probe versions, discovery, probe query, probe set, query, set, and sample. Let's go through some of those in details. Registry is a device adapter, registry its own in the agent. It presents its own UUID, and then after that it presents what version of the model is now containing to the agent. Discovery is you want to find out what are all the registry devices in the agents. You through the registry, through the discovery request and respond, you can get the full list of registry device. To find out the model information about individual device, you use probe query. Given the device UUID, in the request topic, you could come back with exactly what the model details about that particular device. You could also set the model information about a device through the set operation in the next topic. For all the data point in each device, you could, there's a get and set method. Query is the one to extract the data from those data set. Set is, for some of those as configuration parameter, you could set those things through the set topics. To stream the data from the device to the agent or all the way to the application, sample is the topic that device basically you could stream real time what's the content from the machine to the agent or to the application. The MC-Link MT Connect gateway, it can be functioned as 2 modes. One is using as an MT Connect gateway as the agent. This diagram kind of depict what it will look like. So the gateway talk to the MT Connect agent, collect the information. It also presents itself as the MC-Link agent to the MC-Link clients or other applications. So it takes care of the MQTT, management protocol. It manages who subscribe to what topics and things like that, and also responsible for collect the data from the MT Connect agent. The other you could run the gateway as the MC-Link adapter. In this way, the gateway function like an adapter to an existing MC-Link agent. It will, just like using the MQTT, it will register its own device ID for the MT Connect agents that it's talking to, and also provide all the model information to the MC-Link agent. It also handles all the get function and also streaming the data between the adapter to the agent. Well, let's look at exactly how the gateway works. In the gateway, the first thing when it comes up is to present the model information to the MC Connect agent. So the model data is constructed from the MC Connect probe information. Now, for people who are familiar with the MC Connect standard, some of the RESTful API you could do is to be able to show you how, the probe information or the meta information about the device is presented. So one way you could look at it is, when you look at the probe information, the MC Connect, agent will present back what the meta information of this device look like. So this is the information from one of the MASEC machine. As you can see, it describes all the different data points and how the hierarchy of the information model look like. So in the gateway, the first thing it does is be able to construct the model file from this meta information. Now in the MC-Link data model, it has several sections. One is to describe, the sample channel, what kind of data are available in each channel. The way the sample topics work is it has two key parameters at least is the sample interval and the upload interval. Sample interval is how often you collect the data from the device. Upload interval is once you collect all the samples, how often you upload it to the agent or to the application. And then you have a bunch of ID, that describe what are the data that's correct from this channel. So in our implementation, since MC Connect has three different types of data set, one is called sample. Coincidentally, it's also called sample. Then the other one is called event. The third one is called condition. So we separate them into three different channels for each of this data set. And each one we could configure with different sample interval and different upload interval. Once you get all the meta information from the MC Connect, in the MC Connect, each data point is described by their type. This is the MC Connect type, and the MC-Link has its own data type. So what we do is we map how each of those MC Connect data type to the NC data type, based on whatever type information we could map. Now this is not it's pretty straightforward in some way, but because of the vocabulary in the MC-Link is smaller than the MC Connect, so for some of those we cannot find one-to-one mapping. We map it to a generic type called variable. So in this Excel spreadsheet, you find out, these are the sample data type. What are the data type you could contain? These are the UN data type. And then on this side, you can see these are the MC-Link data type. This is definitely a smaller data set than the MC Connect. So in some way, if we couldn't find it, we kind of make it as a generic variable type. And then the last thing we want to do is retain the hierarchy of the MC Connect data set exactly the same way as it is in the MC-Link model file. We go back to the MASEC data model. You can see, it has a hierarchical structure. After the component, you got exos, and in the exo, whether it's a linear, XYZ, exo, and etc. So we want to retain the same hierarchy. So let me show you one example how we map back to the data type. So this is one of the MC Connect machine that we model it in the MC-Link environment, the model file. So we can see, these are the sample channel we set up for those data point XYZ, and then there's a UN channel, condition channel, and then these are the data type here. So we can see these are the component set. If we try to find out what exactly it looked like in the original one, this is exactly the same machine. So to see these are the hierarchy X, Y, Z, A, and C, right? So, and the top level is asset chain, asset remove, availability, and things like that. That's on the top level. The component, the XO, X, Y, Z, etc. This pretty much match up what's the same information in the MT Connect meta file under probe information. So that's how we present the MC link in the model file from the MT Connect agent. Then after that, we collect the data from MT Connect through the RESTful API sample. So we continue to stream the data from the MT Connect agent. We store those data in the real-time memory database in the gateway. And then we continuously publish based on the interval and the upload interval, sample interval, and upload interval through those channels, the 3 different channels. So as we say, you could configure different power interval for each channel. That's to say, for some of the more frequently changed data, you want to have a higher pole frequency and higher upload interval. For things that has less likely to change, you could set up a lower frequency. So at any time, you could also, not just using sample channel to get the data, you could also use a query request to get what are the data content. Since MT Connect is not, you can't allow write operation right now, so the 2 command, how you set the model file called full probe set or the set command currently, are not support because the MT Connect has no corresponding write operation. We talked slightly about the configuration of the gateway. Let's take a look at what it looked like in our configuration. So let's do one of the example. This is one of the example. This one gateway can talk to, I would say, is more than 10 to 15 MT agent from different websites. These are the Mazak demo MT agent, and this is the number of demo agent from NAS. So this all run in this one gateway. The other one you can set up is, this could be set up so whether it's an agent or adapter mode. You want to find out if it is an adapter, what are the MQTT agent, which IP address is running on, and also the port, whether you are function as a listening port for the agent or the one that you want to talk to, MQTT agent, what are the port number. If you don't specify any sample interval or upload interval, we assume it's 1 minute, which is pretty low, but you could always override them, by individual component or sample channel. With in the MQTT, we support 4 different mode of operation. One is using it as a WebSocket, and then you also could do whether it's secure or not secure, same as the TCP or TLS. You could support whether it's secure or not secure. Additionally, you could set up user and password, so not everybody can connect to your MQTT agent, that's what you set up about. So that's pretty much the basic configuration is pretty simple and straightforward. We also set up demo website in our demo go.scimt.com 1883. We set up exactly using this configuration. You have to set up the user and password to connect to it. We also provide run as an adapter to connect to the MC-Link testing site, over here, and you just need to look for any device ID start with MT Connect at go.scimt. So maybe I will do a quick demo here to show you how this works. So I have set up 2 MQ this is the MQTT box. So let's talk to our demo site first. So let's see if I want to listen to anything that is publishing right now. You can see, things are publishing every 1 second here for different channel. And you could also find out, if I want to say, what are all the model file for this particular MT Connect agent. I want to find it out, and this will be what it looks like. So that's, one way you could get kind of show what the data is being published right now. Now to look at maybe to look at the the MC-Link testing site, you could also find out some of the stuff that we are publishing right here. The name is slightly different, but the content is pretty much identical because that's what we are publishing the data. Some way we actually is able to compare what's the data out there and what's being published. We have our own tool to visualize the data. So this we pretty much match up, what's the data being collected from those machines. That's pretty much conclude this presentation. I hope you found it useful. If you have any additional information you want to know, you could either email us or go to our website, goscimt.com, to see whether it has you could answer your questions or you want any additional resource. The gateway is available to download as as a demo. Let's go to. You could go to the location. This has the information. You could also download the trial version. The trial version is pretty much a fully function of the production version. The only caveat is this demo version restricted. You can't run any secure protocol, and also the upload and pull interval will be 1 minute. Other than that, it is basically exactly the same as production. So that kind of concludes what we want to go through in this video. Thanks for watching.